Okay, broadcasting live. Here we go. YouTube. What's going on? I know what you're thinking. There's an A's game going on right now. What are you doing at home? Why are you not working? It's the rare situation where it's a Friday night, had the schedule worked out several weeks, if not months ago, and just trying to, get some time while I had it, because I know the next couple weeks are going to be a stretch at the least. What in the heck is going on here? Now, I do have the TV on in the background. I'm not going to show the game on there, but up just popped the emergency alert system right as I started live streaming here. What a distraction that is. Fortunately, yeah, it's just a test. All right, the game's coming back on. I don't know if any of you are out there watching this and just saw that, but anyway, so I'm here for a little Q&A session. I'll get things rolling there in just a second. I know how YouTube works. It usually takes a couple minutes, but yeah, I forgot to bring a beer out here. Darn it. I was going to do that. That was going to be my whole thing. Should I put this on pause? Should I go run inside and grab a beer? I think I'm going to do it, actually. You know what? It usually takes a while for the live stream to populate anyway. Let me take a quick glance here at the, I do see some people entering the chat. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put the, put this up for a second. All right. But the next thing I'm going to show you here is just to hold you over. All right. I'm going to be right back. I'm going to go grab a beverage. Okay. So just hang with me here. I thought that would be working, but something's not working there. All right, I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Did I lose everybody? Hopefully not. Yes, there we go. Had to go in the kitchen, grab a little Altamont Maui Wowie. It's the easy version. So I had one of these the other day. It's kind of like an IPA, just without maybe all the heaviness. There we go. Cheers. Thanks for waiting, everybody. How about that A's score? 10-4. Going to the, bottom eighth? Yep. 16 hits for the green and gold. I got to say, beating the White Sox 2 out of 3 in that series, nothing removes what happened last weekend in Toronto. But that, I felt like it was a statement, and it was a step in the right direction. And now what you got to do is, I got the TV on over here, you got to hammer these guys, like, all weekend long. And not just, on the scoreboard would be great, but results. Speaking of results, Have you seen this? The A's now a game and a half back. Now this is up to the second here. Win this one, you're a game back. I realize Toronto and Seattle are in there. This is messy. I wish this weren't as messy. But if you were thinking that the A's were out of this thing, not so much the case. Trying to make it, 3 wins in a row? This is quite the race. A lot of AL East teams. Seattle, who you thought was done at the trade deadline. What a night for the A's, too. Look at the amount of hits here. 3 for Marte. 4 for Matteo. Chris Davis got a hit. First hit back, right, at the Coliseum. That's pretty cool. For Tony Kemp, a trifecta of knocks. Murph has 2 hits. Elvis Andrus has 2 hits. You got to get Chappie on the board here. So, yeah, overall, a really good night at the plate. And it got interesting, right? It was, 6-1? Rangers scored a couple, made it too close. And now the A's have made it not close again. 2 in the 4th, 2 in the 5th. Up right now, 10-4. So, let me fade this music out here. And let me just dive into the live chat for a second. I'll set that up. That's what I'm here for, by the way. Your questions, your comments. I know I disappeared for a second earlier, but that was only to get my beverage. I totally forgot. All right, let's take a look here. The Yankees lose. I know. What a big night for the A's. Just going back to that, Yankees lost, Red Sox lost. You don't get many of these nights, I feel like. So you got to capitalize. They're doing that. And this is what a run can do. I'll say right now that the A's can't afford to have another lapse. They cannot afford to have another stretch of rough games like what they just went through. They can't afford it again. I mean, nobody can. I think I'm stating the obvious there. I'm not trying to be super hard or critical. It's just the truth. At this point, 21 games left after tonight. You cannot really afford another slip up. The New York Yankees, okay. Zach, I know you're a Blue Jays guy. I guess that's what it is. Okay. All right. Now I get it. Hi, Brody. A's just need to beat the teams they're supposed to beat and sweep the Trastros. Oh, there you go. I fully agree with that. Let me also pull this up here on the screen because I do Oakland A's schedule. I do want to kind of point out what remains for the A's. It's a bit of a weird sequence here. Oh, I wanted the calendar view. Where is the calendar view? Oakland A's calendar. Let me try that. Hang on 1 second here, everybody. It's not letting me do that. Let me try one more thing. All right, well, I guess this will have to do. All right, let me pull this up here on the screen. So you just played the White Sox. You're starting this series right here against Texas. So Texas not in the playoff picture. Kansas City not in the playoff picture. The Angels not in the playoff picture. It's basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games in a row. This is a portion of the season. You got to capitalize on all of these next 8 games after tonight. Because after that, you get a heavy dose of Seattle and Houston to end your season. Now, the A's have not been great against the Mariners this year. I want to say 4-8 record-wise. Look, I know the Mariners are in that mix, but you cannot afford to go 4-8 so far against that team. That has opened the door to them to be in this race. But this is where the A's right here start to play these critical games. 4 against the Mariners, 3 against Seattle. 4 against the Mariners, 3 against Houston, 3 more against Seattle, and then you close it out, another series on the road in Houston. So clearly it's right now, this is the part where you're supposed to gain momentum, gain traction, gain some space in the standings. This is go time. There is absolutely no question about it. It's nice to see that coming from the A's tonight. Oh, nope, not taking phone calls yet. We might get to that a little bit later on. Little Owl. The Giants are doing great this season. And I got to say, out of respect for those of you who follow my channel, which, by the way, since you're here, can I convince you right now? Subscribe if you're not. I've changed it here on the live chat. Only subscribers can comment. All you got to do, just hit subscribe. Be part of this thing as it grows. But going back to your comment, and I realize a lot of Sharks fans, a lot of Bay Area sports fans are on here. I'm not hating against the Giants. In fact, my best compliment is that every time I look at their score on a game day, they're always winning. They're winning at Coors Field. They're winning against the Dodgers. They're winning against, honestly, whoever they play. They win a lot of series. They don't win every day, but they win a lot of series. And, hey, I'm interested to see if they can capitalize on a great regular season and translate that into a postseason. I know they're building. I know they're not done building. We'll see where the Chris Bryant story goes with them, and how many more chapters are there. I don't know, but as of right here and now, yeah, it's an absolutely interesting season. So, all right, enough Giants. I've reached my quota on Giants talk. I know there's a lot of A's fans here, including Lemmy. I'm with you on that one. Yeah, Mo, I just saw Chris Davis with the bases loaded. And I think it was an 0-2 count when he raked that thing. Just left of the foul pole and left. Unbelievable. It got me going there. That was right when I was setting up this stream. Heavy C, you got it. Yeah, I just put out a Chris Bassitt video today. That's here on the channel. And the reason that one is important to me is because a lot of people will say, yeah, the A's want and need Chris Bassitt back. And I agree. Like, that could certainly help if he's himself and he's healthy. Of course, like, that's an easy answer, but I want to see him come back for him. I know he's not selfish. He wants to come back for his team. I'm going to be selfish for him and say that's the primary reason why I want him to come back. I want him to overcome the injury, the recovery, the not tragedy, but how scary it was. Just an unfortunate situation. So I want him to overcome that. And I don't want him to sit on this for another offseason. I don't want him to sit on that all winter. I want him to come back and pitch at least once for the A's this year, because that effectively closes the chapter of what he just went through. How can the A's acquire Ohtani? Let me say something about Shohei Ohtani. I was thinking about making a video on this. It's just amazing that there's another season where the Angels have, and not even Trout and Ohtani this year. Trout's been clearly hindered by injuries, the majority of this season. But another year where in Anaheim you have arguably the best player in the game. And there's no doubt Mike Trout has been that many recent seasons. But Shohei Ohtani to hit, 40-something bombs, probably going to hit 50, and to do what he's done as a starting pitcher, are you serious? Like, this is his first full healthy breakout season. Like, he's shown you glimpses of everything before, but this is it. He's put it all together this year. But how amazing and how unfortunate for that team and that franchise that it's not even going to get them to the playoffs. I'm not trying to be rude. I'm not trying to sit here and say, well, you're wasting Ohtani's talents down there in Anaheim. But to be perfectly honest with you, I mean, how can you have those caliber of players? Not just one, not just Trout, but Trout and Ohtani now, and you just had Pujols for, however many years, and you can't put it together? Wow. I mean, hey, for all those out there who hate on the A's for the way they operate, and the Moneyball, method of putting a team together, I mean, A's are in the playoffs a lot. How about this one, by the way? Sorry, I'm rambling, but let me just say it while I'm here. I didn't realize until we were covering the last series against Chicago. Do you know that the White Sox have never made back-to-back postseasons in franchise history? You know what? I'm pulling this one up here on the computer screen here. List of Chicago White Sox seasons. All right. So so you're like, how could that be? That is exactly what's happened. But watch this here as I put it on the screen. So, I mean, we're going all the way back to 1901. Sure, won the World Series in 06, 1917. 1919, that's when they threw it to the Reds. Wait, 5-3? Would they play a best of 8? Guess I didn't know that. But look at all these years. The 30s, the 40s, the 50s, no playoffs. 59, they get to the World Series and lose it. Then they're not in the playoffs again until 83. They went from 59 to 83 without being in the playoffs at all. And then they lost in the ALCS. And then they go to 93. And they lost to the Blue Jays. Then it's another 7 years until they lost to the Mariners. And then 05, yeah, they win it. Congratulations. Back in again in 08. And then in 2020 last year, the A's spotted them the first game. Then they lost the next 2. But this is going to be, let's just say it right now. This is going to be the White Sox first back-to-back years of postseason appearances in franchise history. That is freaking nuts. I honestly was not even... I knew they had struggles. I knew they had down periods. But how about all the years with Frank Thomas and Harold Baines and really? Or even when they won the World Series, I could have swore they made the playoffs the year before or after. It's just unbelievable. What are the odds the A's keep Marte? You know what, Bryce? I saw an article on this today summing up how, money is going to be interesting this offseason with the A's. There's so many players that are under arbitration that they're going to want to and certainly, by all senses absolutely need to keep. But the price is going to go up for everybody. So if you're going to spend a similar amount to what they have been, I'm very interested to see how all this plays out. I mean, they got to keep, Marte would be great. I love Josh Harrison. I love Yan Gomes. I love Andrew Chafin, but I also love Mark Canha. And there's a couple other A's players who are going to be entering free agency as well, too. So, Bryce, I don't, what I'd rather do here and now to answer your question is say, probably not tremendous. And that's just being honest. Look at what he's done, by the way. He hasn't even been thrown out. All those steals at 22, 23 now with the A's hasn't been thrown out once, not to mention his on-base percentage, the amount of hits. This guy's an impact player. But I think what he has done is definitely playing so well with the A's has priced himself out maybe of any consideration. But you know what? I'm telling you all that. And what's the worst case? I'm absolutely wrong, and both of us are pleasantly surprised. Do I see Eklund playing with the Sharks this season, or does he go back to Sweden? My understanding is that did he go back out there? And then I'm not sure. Honestly, I don't know what's in the cards. I think though, and I feel like from what I've heard, now I'm not in full hockey mode yet, Matthew, but the thought I think on William Eklund is that there's a chance that he'll play in North America, right, this year, but maybe get a crack at it, and we'll see how the season goes. We'll see what the season dictates. But he's 18 years old. They've said how mature he is. I watched highlights of him the other day. I mean, he does not play and look like an 18-year-old out there. But I also realize you want to take this slow. You want to get his maturation process right. So I would, starting out with the Sharks, to me, unlikely. Maybe getting some early cracks in North America, and we'll see where it takes him. Probably. Muhammad, you bought these headphones, the DT770s a month ago, and you can confirm it was a great purchase. Thank you so much for saying that. I love these headphones. I'm a hardware geek. I think some of you know that from other stuff I publish here on the channel, production stuff. I'm big into all this, the stuff that brings me production to you, including the microphones, the headphones. And because I've been exposed to, a professional level of broadcast equipment through working all these years, I want to bring you the best that I possibly can, including how this little YouTube studio at home even looks. I'm telling you, production value is going to win out. Even in an age of social media where everybody just wants to see a 5-second clip shot on somebody's phone in crappy quality, In the long run, people are going to go back to production quality and value. I guarantee it. Things come and go in cycles. So, Chase, Hertl's concern with San Jose has you scared. You hope he gets the contract he wants and stays with us. I think what you're referring to was that article the other day where he was asked and said he didn't know how this is going to play out with the Sharks and negotiating what's next, or how thrilled he is with the situation and how it's changed for him. Remember, when he came to this club, early 2010s, it was playoffs every year. Now they've missed it 2 consecutive seasons. So I don't think he was trying to negotiate necessarily through the press or the media. Just knowing Tomas over the years, that's not his style. Like, he is an innocent, fun-loving dude, and somebody asked him questions. He answered honestly. And maybe I think us here in translation and also in North America, we've taken it a few steps farther. So I don't want to speak for Tomas at all. Maybe he was doing that. But knowing enough that I do, knowing him, knowing the backstory, I think he was just being honest about the situation. And quite honestly, I think oh man, sorry, I got a little distracted. Baseball game going on over here. The Rangers are going to score. So now it's 10-5. The A's are 1 out away from ending this thing. I like the 10-4 score. I could say 10-4, good buddy. Now I can't say that tomorrow on pregame live. But I think the Sharks also recognize Tomas as a valuable piece. And I also think that other teams around the league see him as a valuable piece. Now, I hate hinting, no trades or whispers, I hate that. But I also see the situation. I see his value. Everybody else does too. It's a compliment. So either the Sharks are going to re-up with him or somebody else is going to want him. Clear as that. He's a desired player in this league. And I truly don't think, with the couple knee injuries he's already been through, I don't think we've seen the best and the most consistent of him yet. I also think that's in store. Sorry, I went a little bit long there on that one. Zach asking the same thing. I do see a situation where I don't know when and where and how it happens. I do know typically, for Doug Wilson, it's the start of the season usually. And it's been a while since somebody's been re-signed like that. But a lot of times it does feel like a new season gets underway. And once the roster's built, that's the next thing he starts to focus on. So I'm telling you, odds are maybe that's it, but I don't know specifically when. Zach, you're predicting Marcus back in Oakland next season? You're calling it? Look, Marcus is in the same category as Starling Marte. He has only upped his value. And if it didn't work out last year, I'm just being honest here. There's going to be suitors out there for Marcus, and great for him. Excuse me, not just good for him, great for him. He took a gamble on himself. Signing a 1-year contract after kind of an off season. It was a lucrative one, but now he's only going to reap more years and more benefits because of what he's done this year. Uncle Brody, we need the money ball. Look, we just need some second half A's magic. And maybe if this season played out like April and May and June, where they were in first place and the Astros were chasing them and we weren't even talking wild card, maybe this season would have been more fun, less stressful, but maybe it's going to be more entertaining and exciting down the stretch. A's win, by the way, 10-5 your final score. So I'll update the standings in just a second because I know you're going to like them. But sometimes well, first off, never you get to control how the outcome of this goes, but sometimes it doesn't go as planned, but it can offer you an even better result. Think about 2012. Great season, fun year. Oh, they may not make the playoffs. And then all of a sudden, game 160, they clinch the playoffs. 161, they clinch a chance to even play for the West. And then 162, against these Texas Rangers, when Hamilton dropped that ball, they win the West on the very last day of the regular season. And I know that doesn't happen every year. That's crazy to think, you're going to get that story like that every time. But it's happened before. I'll just say it like that. That this is pretty weird. Watching post-game live over here, Except I'm right here answering your questions. What pitchers do you think the A's would require next season? I mean, it's hard for me to get that deep into it right now without looking at the entire roster, what's out there for them. But, I mean, look, Bassitt, Manaea, Montas, clearly that is your backbone. So how do you solidify that? How do you keep that? How do you assure that? It's definitely a thought. And I think, the bullpen also has a lot more free agent pieces out there. The bullpen this year hasn't been your strongest point consistently. It's been good. It's actually carried them for significant portions, but it also has had some rocky stretches. So, let's see here. You bought your Hertl jersey last season? Yeah, I mean, he's been around. The crazy thing about Hertl, he's already been around long term. Quite honestly, if he signs a next deal, it's going to keep him basically a Shark for almost life. Depending on how many years and such, but a 4-year deal has him playing more than 10 years in this league. So think about that for just a second. What do I know about the Evander Kane situation, and do you think this will turn into a cancer for the season? Nicola, if I'm pronouncing your name correctly, this is something that I've just refrained from elaborating on because I don't know. What I'm saying is I don't know the true depths of what's going on, what has already happened. I'm not an expert on this. I will have something to say when there is a resolution, when we know if he's around for the season or not, or how it absolutely is going to go with this team. But as of now, to speculate on it, to jump ahead of that, I think that would be tremendously wrong of me to do. So I'm going to refrain from that. But of course, I mean, I think to the biggest point I could make here, and it's a generic one, but it's honestly, this is how I feel. I was thinking about this earlier. It impacts this team whether they have or don't have their best player on the ice last season. Granted, if things were not well off the ice in the dressing room, and that's going on too, then that's a whole nother dynamic, clearly. But the whole structure of your team changes if Evander Kane is not around for one reason or another. What you have on your roster, also what your salary cap situation looks like. But I'm not here to speculate with or without yet, okay? I understand everybody wants to know the answer to this. I do too. It affects the team. Like there's a lot left in the balance right now of things we don't know. So, and I don't even want to go down the road. I know there's a lot of people saying, well, tell me what you think if he stays and tell me what you think if he's not around for the next season. What will it look like both ways? I don't even want to go that far. You know what? Videos and stuff you do here on YouTube, they last forever. And at this juncture, I see too many people making hypotheticals, making predictions, weaving all back around down the road. It's funny. You look at a draft, for example. You ask a football analyst, who's your team going to take with their number one pick? And they'll tell you player X. That fits their profile, their system. Player X is it. Then it turns out when the draft happens, and then 5 months later, you look back on the video, they took player Y. And then they talked about how they always loved player Y. And player X was never really in the cards for them. So, sorry, I went on that rant a little bit, but the point is, I've really shied away from the hot takes that I think most people want to thrive on, or what might get the most clicks or reaction. I'd rather be more reliable and accurate in time, and do it that way. And I know that's not, I'm not giving you an answer, but I honestly don't know. I do clearly see kind of a fork in the road here. I do see that. You stay or you go. And if you stay, there's going to obviously be some things that need to get sorted out, worked through. Clearly, if you go, that's a whole different conversation. So I don't want to go down too far any of those roads, but there you go. No pre and post game. You were hoping I was getting a vacation at least. Well, Hayden, this is my vacation. I don't go anywhere. In fact, full disclosure, I actually had to cancel a vacation coming up soon just because the world's health crisis is not over. When I booked the vacation, I thought it would be, and it is absolutely not. So frustrated by that? Yes, absolutely. But got to make sacrifices, so here we are. Yeah, you know what? I'm not on tonight, but I'll be back there tomorrow. And it's funny as I do this live stream. There's Dontrell. What's up, Train? So, it's a Friday night. Everybody else here at the house is already fast asleep. I'm up by myself. Why not get a little YouTube action in here? And by the way, can I just say, while I'm here, I felt like I got to do this more. For those of you who are not already subscribing, just take the opportunity right now to do it. Selfishly, yeah, I'm aiming for 10,000 by the end of this calendar year. Because I think I started off this year at 5. And normally I couldn't care less about followers or subscribers in this case. I really don't on any other social platform. But I am trying to make this platform specifically more valuable, more versatile, more useful to you. It's the place where I can live stream. I can get across long-form content, share a little show material. So this is the place that I'm trying to build out. And that's why I come on here on a Friday night and spend some time. So if you're not subscribing already, do both of us a favor, and I would appreciate that. Do I think Matt Olson, Canna, Murphy, Chapman, Laureano will leave and get paid out, or Oakland will pay to keep them? Isaac, it's interesting. These players' contracts, the new ballpark, the plans there. Hard for me to say right now. If you ask me this same question in February or March of next year, before the next season starts, and we have probably a better grip on Howard Terminal, how that's going to play out, I'll probably be able to give you a better answer there. And the reason why is because there's just so much unknown. By the way, can I just show you? Look at that shot right there. Oh, the beautiful Bay Bridge. By the way, I have this new loop of scenics going on in the background. I know you're wondering, why am I seeing this right now? I upgraded the channel here. I got some new graphics going on. Eventually going to have some new music, but I also have access to this library of footage, which I'm going to kind of integrate into some of the graphics and some of the elements that I use. But yeah, I drive over that bridge all the time. I'll be there tomorrow morning, probably about 10 o'clock, going over to the studio. What was that little jump of black in there? What just happened there? Little jump frame? Guess I need to re-edit that one. Have I ever thought about growing a beard like Jumbo or Burnsy? Well, Matthew, did you see my hair last hockey season? Just going back to that. What in the world was I doing? Well, I know what I was doing. There was a pandemic, and couldn't get a haircut for many of those months. But then I also neglected it other parts. I was like, just let it go. Who cares? I wasn't going to be on TV for a while. Why not? And then I thought it would work well in hockey. I guess it did. And then finally got that cut in April. Yeah, first one in 550 days. You guys want to do phone calls? Is that what we're getting to here? Bamboo Soldier, what's going on, man? Appreciate you being here. Little Owl, thank you for being here. Elgor 1, I need to broker the Ohtani deal. Or I need to break it? You tell me what I need to do. Break it, broke it, or broker it. I don't know if that was a typo or not. No, I mean, look, Shohei Ohtani, are we going to waste away his career as an Angel and never get him in the playoffs and never get him in a postseason? How many playoffs has Mike Trout been in? Just frustrating. I mean, I'm saying that frustrating as a baseball fan. Do I want the Angels advancing in the American League? No, because that means likely the A's aren't. So you know what? Get those guys out of Anaheim. Get Trout. I know they're not. I know it's not going to happen. But if I could find a way to do it to get them in playoffs and get them out of Anaheim so that the A's can get in, best case scenario. Hayden, how is the DeWalt tool collection coming along? Any new projects? How did you know? I am I'm a very brand loyal person, first off. And it kind of goes here even in the home studio. The brands like Soundcraft or Universal Audio or Blackmagic Design or Elgato or Neumann Mic or Biodynamic Headset or even the beer I'm drinking, Altamont Beer Works out in Livermore. I'm a very brand loyal person, and that also extends to power tools and just tools in general. I love DeWalt stuff. It's just, you know what? And I also love Milwaukee stuff. It's also a good brand. And there's a few out there. I don't mean to omit any, but DeWalt and Milwaukee, but especially DeWalt, that's the tool system that I've invested into, the ecosystem because of the batteries and stuff. I actually just got a pole hedge trimmer because I really, really need one. I have a manual hedge trimmer, which means I have to go up on like a 15-foot ladder. I'm up on the top of that thing. It's shaking around. And every fall when I have to cut things down, I look down and say, what am I doing? Like, I don't want this to be the year where I fall off this thing and seriously hurt myself. So I decided to get the hedge trimmer on a pole. Won't have to be up on the ladder anymore. But yeah, I love DeWalt tools. I got the sander. I got a miter saw, you know, the impact driver, the drill, you name it. Circular saw. It's funny how I had none of this when I moved here to our house in 2015. Because I was living in a condo in San Francisco for all those years. My toolbox was literally the size of this keyboard. Like it was Keychron, by the way. If you need a keyboard, Keychron, the K2. This thing is freaking awesome. And yeah, I know I can swear here on YouTube, but I just, you know what? Someday my son might watch this. He might be watching it right now. Just kidding. He doesn't have a phone. But the other day I was like, do you want to text somebody? He's like, Daddy, I don't have a phone. You know that. I was kidding, of course. But yeah, I'm big into DeWalt. Great brand. Really, really enjoy their products. What else did I say? Sander. Oh yeah, sorry, the tools. I didn't have any of this stuff. And then over time, projects happen, needs arise. Our house is not new by any means. Like it's 60 years old, something like that. No, 50 to 60 years old. And so it needs stuff done on it constantly. We've done some work on it. So what I've found is if sometimes instead of having somebody else do a project, if you can buy the tool for a lot cheaper and you know what you're doing and you have confidence in what you're doing and you know it's the right way, get the tool. Then you'll own the tool and you'll get to fix up anything else that you'll need the tool with. Thank you. Molon? I'm so sorry. I don't know how to pronounce your screen name there. Thank you for saying that about the channel. And again, you know what? That's what I'm shooting for. Production quality, production value, insightful commentary. You know what? 10K would be great. If we don't get there, no big deal. And really, the growth has started to happen in the last couple weeks and months. So I'm just trying to capitalize on that. Get us to 10K. And then honestly, we'll figure it out from there. Nicola, I am sipping on Altamont Beer Works Maui Wowie, but the easy version. Now I've had the IPA version of this. I've had the double IPA version of this. Altamont also makes a couple triple IPAs. Oh, I mess with the triple IPAs. I do. But this one's kind of a light. It's this easy tropical ale. So this one's a little bit lighter. To me, it has notes of the IPA, but it's not as heavy. I think it's a 4.8. Beer talk right there. It's a 4.8. Ohtani needs to go to a high caliber team. He would be a huge impact to a good team. I absolutely agree. Totally believe in that. Sorry, I had this. I had the volume up here. I'm just going to turn this down for 1 second here. The TV was. I keep hearing it. I know you can't hear it on the mic, but the volume just started to go up there for a second. It was commercials. I just needed to turn it down. Is Bassitt going to come back with 3 weeks left? Let's hope. Well, Edward, to that point, I just posted a video earlier today on this topic, and I know it's important for the team to get Bassitt. Of course, like that would help, especially if he's what you'd expect. If he's doing what he had been doing all year, of course you welcome that. Now that you know he's going to recover just fine, right? There was a time period where after he got hurt, you're thinking, man, don't mess up your life for this, and let's hope that baseball did not mess up your life, your vision, your brain. But it turns out he was spared in all those respects. So now, your mind kind of turns to, yes, can he help the A's? But for me, and this is what the video is all about, I encourage you to go check it out, which, yes, by the way, is here on the channel. So got to promote that. But for me, I just want him to pitch again for his own mental sake, mental sanity, close a chapter on the injury, move past it. It is literally as simple as that. M-Lam, it's Friday night, so you're half drunk? That's a lot of good emojis right there. You got the face, and you got the woozy eyes one, and then you got the passed out one. All right. Well, I'm not going to get, I'm not going to go too far on just one of these tonight. And that's it. That's all I'm doing. Can you comment on the expansion at Sharks Ice, a 5th rank in a new place for the Barracuda? Love this investment by the team and city. And Joseph, I wholeheartedly agree with you on this. I think I am going to do a tour. I was talking to Jonathan Becker, Sharks president, a while back, and was talking about making a specific visit to go check out the construction and do a little video there, because I think a lot of you would like to see this. But the San Jose Barracuda as an AHL team playing in an NHL rink, it was never meant to be. They moved the team closer for obvious reasons. They had to move all those teams out west a handful of years ago, but that product is never going to thrive until next season when they open up their new arena. Ticket prices are going to be clearly very affordable, but they'll also give you an entertaining experience. And for a lot of people in San Jose, this is kind of like the entry-level experience into Sharks hockey. If you're just curious about checking out what a hockey game looks and feels like, or it could be a very social event priced accordingly, this is going to open up the door for hockey. And I'm a big person. You guys know this. I want to grow the game in Northern California, and them getting this facility, adding on to what already exists in a time and an era where it's so hard to do new construction or find a spot. I mean, hey, A's fans understand. You can't just build anywhere, anytime without fighting through everything. But the Sharks have done it. They've done it on a small scale for their minor league team, and that's going to be great. It's going to be great in San Jose. And over the years, I actually questioned at times, would they be better off as the Sacramento Barracuda or somewhere else, in our region, close enough, but get them out of San Jose because it's not clicking there. Now that they're going to have their own building and their own thing and their own theme, love it. This is exactly what I was hoping was going to happen. Maybe a couple years longer of a wait, but that's fine. That's fine. In reality, so good for hockey, and so good for the Sharks. All right, we have Federico A. Pacheco here on the Super Chat. I really appreciate that, Federico, your contribution to the channel. Can I just say, before I even look at your question, I haven't even peeked yet, what I do with the Super Chat here is I take all the resources, all the revenue from that, I put it right back into things for this channel, right? It's taken a certain amount to get it all going, and I'm expanding. I recently bought a remote setup. So just so everybody's clear, all I do when I get stuff like this is add on to the channel to give it right back to you, to make you more and to get you more. So, Federico, to answer your question, what is the chance of the A's signing Tim Lincecum and Madison Bumgarner in the offseason? Or the upcoming year? Wait a second. Is big time Timmy Slim Jim, is he coming back to baseball? And Madison Bumgarner, I mean, hasn't he rode off into the sunset of Arizona? What a deal, by the way, too. You think about if Bumgarner, going back to the Giants, and I'm not, Federico, if you're a Giants fan, I'm not saying this certainly to push your buttons, but imagine how well the Giants are doing this year. And I don't know what Bumgarner's doing stats and season-wise. I mean, I know how rough the Diamondbacks have had it. What if he were a Giant this year? What if they had that in addition to a Logan Webb and a pitching rotation that's already been outstanding? And maybe he wouldn't even need to start for you. Maybe he'd come out of the bullpen, but I think that would be equally interesting. Has anybody talked about that on the Giants side? I'm sorry, I don't follow all the headlines over there. I don't really know the pulse of a Giants fan here and now, but I wonder if is that something people talk about? So going back to the A's, maybe get Bumgarner somehow, but what's his contract status? I don't even know. Minimal? That one's out of left, center, and right field. Who would you like at shortstop next year? And I'm pretty sure you're talking about the A's. Oh, to clarify, that last question meant for the A's and anyone in-house if you think might be able to fill the role at shortstop. Look, for that position for me, it's why the A's at the very last minute, or one of their last deals of the past offseason, was to go out and get Elvis Andrus, because that position to me is somewhere that you need either an established veteran presence or you need somebody that is so up and coming and so ready that this is this is what you're going to roll into. I don't think that you randomly say, well, they could play short. No. For me, shortstop at the major league level has to be somebody where it's they've played short for a while. We know that this guy can do that job. So who would I like? I mean, look, if Elvis Andrus likes it here, I know his start to this year was rough. I know the guys like him. He's been very sure-handed at shortstop, and the offense has not come around entirely. I mean, I think he was a .270 career hitter into this season after more than 10 years in the league. But he's been a 9-hitter for this team, and he's been solid. I respect what he's done this year. And you know what? He actually admitted to me on an interview on one of our pregame shows that the start of his season was hindered by something completely away from baseball. And I did not want to dig. He mentioned it. That's all I needed to hear. I don't need to know what it was, how it affected him, how long it lasted, but he said it was over. He said something was going on. I couldn't focus. Dude, I will give you that. I get it. So I like Elvis, but again, we're talking about re-signing free agents here. I don't know how that goes. I mean, Bamboo, you've watched the A's a long time. Marcus, of course, but I don't, like I said before, he's played himself out of that. Of course, there are going to be other free agents out there. There will be. But I don't know the answer to this question. I'm very, very intrigued by it. M. Lamb, you hear YouTube takes half. Yeah. You know what? Would I consider a different method to contribute without making YouTube? So M. Lamb, I was not fully aware of that until recently. It's not half, but they do take a healthy chunk. I don't know. I would put together like a Patreon for this channel. The only problem is I really don't want to make it. I don't want people to feel obligated. I guess what I would do is I could make something, but maybe not promote it. Maybe I'll do that. So thank you for offering, and maybe I'll do that on the next live stream or something like that. But this is from me to you, and if people want to be part of it via the super chat or anything else, great. That's awesome. I know there are other things coming where you can have a members-only section. Maybe that's an idea too. But to your point, is there a different way for people to give back? Not presently, because I just don't want to be pushy about it. I don't make super chat. That's just something that already exists, clearly. But yeah, maybe in the future. And you're right. YouTube does take a chunk of that. And I was not fully aware of that until recently, unfortunately. Any chance in hell the Sharks make the postseason? Aaron, thank you for being here in the super chat. Yeah. I mean, let me say this. They've never not made the playoffs 3 years in a row. So if you believe in history repeating itself, they will make the playoffs. They will not go 3 in a row and not be in the second season. But I think it goes like this. I like the moves in goal. I like Aiden Hill. I like bringing Reimer back. I know it's weird to say. It's been so many years, and he was only around for a short time. I like that. I like taking the Martin Jones blame game out of the equation. Is it the goalie? Is it the defense? No, we don't worry about that now. We have a fresh slate. I like some of the new additions, the veteran players that they've added, Bonino included. But, yeah, they've got some things still to sort out with that team. They really do. It's all documented. I don't need to say it here, but it's one of those things that, like, on paper, they have it. So the reason why I was so forthright at first in saying, yeah, of course they do, because on paper they do. They literally do right now. If you look at that roster, it should indicate to you they have the opportunity to make the playoffs. And I know Las Vegas is in the division, and that's tough. And now you also have the wild card of the Desert Dogs out, and you have Seattle coming into the Pacific Division. How's Calgary and Edmonton? How's Vancouver? I think the Kings and Ducks may have another rough season, but they're not too many years away from replenishing all over again. So this year's got to be big for them. It really does. Not just in a sense of, well, don't go 3 in a row for the first time in franchise history. It's not. It is kind of about that, but it's more about, like, can you, after a couple steps back, can you take that first big step forward? And for me, as a person who was used to covering this team and following it for all these years, like literally since 91, we've built up such a high bar for them and an expectation that every year, of course they make the playoffs, because they always do. And like half the teams in the league do. But it has to, the expectation now has to be, if they qualify for the playoffs this upcoming season, I know they're going to talk about the highest aspirations still. But if they make the playoffs this year, for me, that's a step forward in the right direction. It's got to be considered that. You got to retune what you think about this group and what you hope for them. Yeah, going back to Madison Bumgarner, I didn't look up the contract status, but I would have to imagine what he signed for in Arizona is not something the A's would consider unless the Diamondbacks want to pay the majority of that and ship him up here to the Bay Area. Timmy can be enticed by Bay Area herbs. Well, I think they're grown a little bit further north. Like, if there was a team up in Humboldt, maybe he'd probably be in the Hall of Fame for that team. Somebody. Will I expand this channel to surpass the Yes Network by the A's? Sign some big-time free agents and keep them in Oakland. Yeah, you know what, Robert? If this YouTube channel really takes off, then absolutely, that's what I'll do with it. You know what? I saw a couple good things to get to here. NFL kicking off this week. Yeah, apparently last night it already kicked off. Did Tom Brady play? Did the Dallas Cowboys play? Honestly, who's my team? Hot takes? I got nothing for you. Joseph, I might be the only one who just has, like, no hot takes on the NFL. As I popped on Twitter last night, everybody talking about the game. I wasn't watching. I was doing dad stuff. Very busy. But I just, you know what? I work so hard on the A's and Sharks. I barely even have time for the Warriors. And I grew up loving to watch the Warriors, but it just doesn't time out very well. What can I say? I know I'm a rare dude, somebody who's not in tune, not playing fantasy NFL. I just don't. I don't know. And I know everybody else does. So trust me, I'm not saying that out of like pride or a rebel. No, I get it. I get it. I'm the odd one out on that. Nick Allen in Vegas. Did something happen? Should I look up what happened with the Aviators? Would he hit like 3 bombs tonight? What happened? Yes, YouTube does take about 38%. The best way is a PayPal link. Okay, all right. Or Cash App if you want to get the most out of a donation. Bamboo, thank you for that. Thanks for that information. You know what? if I eventually get the opportunity to do that, I might do it. But again, I don't want anybody to ever feel obligated about that. Oh, Federico, you're back. In all caps, which I appreciate. You're asking for your older brother. I was trying to make a point to him. I'm an A's fan. My brother's a Giants fan. Now how did that happen? Federico, how in the same, if you guys did grow up together, how did it come to be? Maybe you guys are separated by age and one team was more appealing for some years, or maybe one liked the Giants first, so the other one was like, screw that, I'm going with the A's, or vice versa. So you were trying to tell your brother that, but he heard it from me. So you know what? You're welcome. Okay, so now, Federico, I didn't know if you were asking me that, and I didn't know if you're like a bit crazy asking me that, so let me go off on your brother for a second here. Your older brother, whatever his name is, the Pacheco brother. Federico's brother. What are you talking about? Lincecum? Come on, he's done. He's been done. You don't quit a career and then come back, like no matter how you want to, or you don't do that. And Madison Bumgarner, I mean, what you think the A's are going to break the piggy bank for that? No. Are you kidding me? Granted, if he came here for free, I think we'd take him. No chance. So you know what? You're back in the super chat. I'm digging in just like you wanted me to, Federico. Your brother is tripping. What is he thinking? All right. Have fun with that. Hopefully you stuck around for that. Logan, yeah, you know what? There was a design review committee for the Oakland City, not council, but the Oakland City's design review committee. They had a meeting 2 days ago. It lasted about 2 hours. I consumed the whole thing. And this one was different because they were talking about specifics to the design, the layout, the ingress, the egress. I had a couple of things that I shared on Twitter. What I eventually want to do, and I don't think the link is up for it yet, but I eventually want to take that video and then restream it here on my YouTube channel so that everybody can see it. They had this meeting the other day at 3 p.m. I don't know about you, but I listened to it while I was driving in the car. I was busy. I know a lot of you are too. You're doing stuff at 3 p.m. So I have put up before the city council meeting that was really important. I put up the Board of Supervisors meeting that was really important back in June. And I'll put up this design review committee meeting as soon as it becomes available. I'll share it. But the thing about this meeting was, I think what really hits you, and by the way, I have a video coming out tomorrow, my latest thoughts on Howard Terminal. I just taped it earlier today. And I think you all are going to like it. It's a new way to think about all this. And some of it includes what was discussed in this meeting. But they got into the level of detail on this meeting about stormwater runoff. Like, that's the kind of stuff we're talking about now with this project. That to me is a great thing. Like, we're talking about the nuts and bolts. I wish I would have said that in the video. We're now talking about the nuts and bolts of this project. Were we doing that 4 months ago? Absolutely not. I mean, you and I were, but was the city of Oakland, the county of Alameda? Not that I know of. I mean, not publicly. Look at me trying to come off all official, and then I just sip the beer here. Hey, let me real quick. Let me just check and make sure how the stream's going. Yeah, some people are watching. That's good. All right. Yeah. Yeah. Look, I'll just show you what I'm looking at here. Yeah, it's the stream's growing. Great. That's all you can hope for. How long have I been on for? Almost an hour. My goodness. All right, let me bring this back here. Oh yeah. You know what? While we're looking at stuff here on the computer, let's look at this. Ooh, 10-5 final score tonight. I mean, I knew that already. I just watched the game. I was live streaming it. And so now, let me see, refresh. It should say the A's are a game back. Oh, yes, they are. Look at that. Make it bigger for you here. So now, look at this. And here's another thing to look at. Their last 10 games. Boston playing .500 baseball. The Yankees, 2 wins in their last 10 games. Now, Toronto's been crushing it. I saw a stat that said ever since Marcus hit that walk-off a week ago tonight, last Friday night, like in the 45 innings after that, they never trailed in a game. So like 5 games, they never even trailed. So they've been steamrolling teams. And that's partly why, and they lost obviously their last game today, but that's partly why they gave the A's so much trouble and so many fits. Like the A's dropped the ball, but Toronto was right there to run with it. Then the A's are 5-5. Okay. They've won 3 in a row. I like that push. Seattle, I mean, they're also making a great run here. And really, it's a 5-team race for 2 spots. Think how wild this wild card situation is going to be. 3 teams, 3 of these 5 teams are going to be upset. I do have a sense and a feeling that one of them is going to tail off. I don't know. Maybe it's the Yankees. I mean, really, they're not that far from holding this spot, and Boston's only a game ahead in the top spot. I mean, look, if Toronto keeps this up, they're gonna hop in this spot. The Yankees and the A's will be right next to each other. I mean, Oakland and the Pinstripes are separated by 1 win right now. And the A's only have, and think about this, of all the ruts the A's have been in this year, of all the bad luck losses, like 2 of them to the Giants in a row with those pinch hitters in that last series, or the fact that they just got, well, they got swept by the Blue Jays who were playing well, but they lost 2 recently to the Mariners head-to-head. The fact that they've played the Rangers not terrific this year. There are, in 141 games played, there are at least a couple out there for the A's that they could have and should have taken. If I say that there's 3 more, then there definitely are. I think there are. They could be right up there with the Red Sox. I know. Coulda, woulda, shoulda. It's not how the game's played. But that literally now, I mean, we are now talking about every single game, every single win and loss. Like, this is what the season's going to come down to. It's going to be a nail-biter. And so every pitch, every inning, every at-bat from here on out is so imperative. The A's, I'm saying this in an obvious fashion, they cannot afford to have another rut, to have another struggle period. With this busy of a race, 5 teams for 2 spots, all separated by just a couple games, 3 wins total. Hang on, what is it? What's Samuel L. Jackson say? Hold on to your butts. Wait, no, he goes, hold on to your butts. I forgot I had that. You know, I have auto-tune on here later if you guys really want to get wild. I don't think you want to get that wild, though. Okay, let's go back to the old live chat here. Pull that back up. Bang. Sorry. I got a lot going on here in the home studio, and I'm trying to keep it clean. Eric, you're working in your home studio right now with your Soundcraft Signature 22 while watching the live chat. Twinsies! That's awesome, Eric. So you are an audio enthusiast just like myself. This is the Soundcraft 12 mixer. I know that's what you're talking about. So you have one that probably goes like from here. I guess I would have to take that off. Yours goes from here to like here. Mine's the short version of it. But yeah, that's a great mixer. Great mixer. I'm glad you have that. Okay. Wow, the chat. I'm way behind here. The Raiders are winning the Super Bowl, Tommy. Come on, Tommy. Well, you know what? Look what's crazy too. I think if I bring my mouse down, your avatar is all black, and that's the color that my computer screen recognizes to key out. So yeah, like you can whoop. There's Tommy right down there. Hey Tommy, who do you think's going to win the Super Bowl? The Raiders. I'm sorry. I know. Andy Land, you don't play fantasy football either. Yeah, I just I don't know if I should share this, but somebody said they said, because they were trying to get me in their fantasy league, they said, "Are you do you want to play fantasy football? Are you a fantasy guy?" And I said casually, I was like, "My fantasies have nothing to do with sports." I mean, that came across gross. I didn't mean it like that, but you know what I'm saying. Like, this just, I don't know. Fantasy, whoever called it fantasy sports. Like, what's the fantasy? Fantasy sports. That sounds pretty good. Fantasy sports. It's just, I don't know. Fantasy. I don't know. Call it simulated sports or like esports. Okay. But then there's fantasy sports. Such a weird name when you think about it. Patreon. Okay. I will look into that. Plenty of folks talking about trying to sign our trade deadline acquisitions, but switch it up a bit. What do you think happens with Lowry in the offseason? Well, you know what, Derek? I think Jed Lowry has proven that he only finds success with the Oakland A's. What is this, his 3rd tour of duty? And everywhere else, it just hasn't hit the same. And you know what? This is the crazy thing about professional sports. This is why I said earlier, I'm not huge into making all these, outstanding predictions just to do so, because the A's signed Jed Lowry to a minor league contract right before spring training. And I remember when it happened, people said, well, why did they do that? I thought, well, you've got like a Pender and a Kemp over there, and I like V-Mail Machine from last year, just didn't work out this year. For depth, and to give a guy a chance, and you're familiar with him. Jed Lowry had 9 at-bats in the 2 prior seasons combined. Say it again. Jed Lowry had 9 at-bats in the 2 prior seasons. So, of course, you didn't really know what to expect, if anything. And sure enough, he returns to form. He's the A's DH a lot of games. They're cleanup hitter, switch hitter, provides versatility. I know people say, well, how does he play second in the field? Pretty good. There's not been a liability factor there at all. So, look, I would hope that he gives, like the A's gave him the benefit of signing him. If the 2 parties were mutually interested, I would hope that Jed, he could parlay what he did this year for somebody else. This dude barrels so many baseballs, it's ridiculous. You talk about doubles. I'd love to know the stat for him of stand-up doubles, which is different. How many times does he even go into second base sliding? It's because he finds the gap so well, it's an easy double for him. He can hit. He's a pure hitter from both sides, switch hitter. That helps him physically this year. And I heard Bomel say the other day, I think he's got a wrist and some other issue. It's just general soreness, a little bit fatigue, but the A's have used him a ton this year. He went 2 prior seasons not playing, and now the A's have put the workload right back on him. So let me just say this. I would welcome him back. I would hope it's a mutually beneficial arrangement. I want it to work out for Jed, right? But I also want it to work out for the A's. Give me 1 second here. I just realized I don't even think I shared this this live stream. So let me do that on Twitter for a second here. Oh, you want to see what that looks like? Yeah, I'm just sharing it right here. I'll always take out this messy part right here. Yep, gonna tweet that bad boy out. Boom. Okay, there we go. All right, now we'll get back to... Let me go back to this screen for a second too, because I talked about this a while ago. This is the part of the year where the A's need to, these next 8 games, you got Texas for 2 more, and then you're done with the Rangers. Then you got the Royals on the road, and then you go back down to Anaheim for 3. But right now, this is the stretch of 8 more games against non-playoff teams. Then you go Seattle, 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 Seattle at home. That's a heavy series right there. And then Houston that weekend for 3, another, pivotal series. Now, we haven't talked about the West much. I don't know what to say. I'll look at the standings here in just a second. In fact, did I pull them up? Whoops, that was what I was looking at here. How about, are the West standings here? Division, yep. Should be AL East, AL Central, AL West. So, 5.5 games back for the A's. You play enough games, but even if you got 6 against the Astros, let's say you go 4-2, you only make up 2 games right there. So they're going to have to start their slip now. The winning the West is going to be rough still. Let's be perfectly honest about that. But just kind of going back to this schedule here. This last little push here, it's crazy how the scheduling worked out. The other 2 teams in your division that are in a playoff conversation, you get to play all of your final, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13, your last 13. So 8 more against non-playoff teams, and then the last 13 against the heavy hitters. Okay, let's get it back here to the old chat. Sorry, I was talking about a Jed Lowry question. That got me on such a tangent. The NHL is better than the NFL. Well, Hayden, let me just say this. In a lot of ways, I agree. I agree with you. I mean, I'm biased. I'm partial. It's what I do. It's what I have a lot more depth and experience with. This is not the popular take. Like, don't go into can I grab it? Don't go into a sports bar with this conversation and with this take. Don't think your favorite media personality is going to subscribe to this. But I love the NHL, and I love baseball too. Football is right now king. I'm not here to bash it either. This is not what this is all about. So I don't even know if I could wholeheartedly agree with you based on the odds, but yeah, clearly I have my work responsibilities and I have my preferences, and I'm not far off with you there. Marcus, what's the outlook on Puck? You want the big unit, our big unit, to figure it out. He's got the Randy Johnson physique. I wish he had the Randy Johnson staying power. Let me just say this. Another season that I wanted him to just have some inherent confidence at the end of this year. Came up to the A's, and I think, he didn't. I can't remember if he started up or not. Anyway, got hurt. No, he made that appearance. No, that's what it was. April 8th, I want to say, made an appearance in relief. Was injured right after that. Rehab for about a month, and then he spent from May all the way until August 10th down with the AAA Aviators, and had pitched 2 and 3 innings, had stretched out a certain pitch count, and you saw that he was going to be a bullpen guy for you. Then they called him up, and quite honestly, he was not. Today's September 10th, and he was already optioned a couple days ago. He didn't even last a month. It was my hope for him when he got called up to make the most out of this opportunity. Down the stretch, you're coming out of the bullpen. Team's going to need you in this role. And it just didn't work. He didn't latch. So I would hope that for him, he hasn't gone through too much. Like, it's a message when you're going back to AAA. You thought this was going to be the time where you're up for good, you stick. Now the question is, how and when and where would he get another chance this baseball season for the Oakland A's? I don't know. But I feel for him. I like the guy. Got to know him a little bit a couple years ago. We did a whole show with him. And to see one of his best buddies, Jesus Luzardo, get traded this year. It's frustrating. I would imagine deep down, and I know he's a very private and kind of secluded guy, not out there like some are. I would imagine that if you really got into it, he'd be frustrated, and not like it's anybody's necessarily fault. He's just frustrated at everything. Injuries, timing, opportunities. Hasn't panned out like everybody had hoped. I still hold hope. I still think that potential's there. Just hasn't happened yet. Raiders won't even be near 500. Oh, Federico. Thank you for jumping back in the super chat. You can see the A's passing the Jays and the Red Sox passing the Yaks. I know you meant Yankees. Here, let me go to this for just a second. Let me go back to the standings since you brought it up here. Oh, nope, this is the West. Stand by here. Wild card. So, honestly, if I had to make some predictions here, could Boston fall out of it? Possibly. Like, I know these two right here are the Davids. No, sorry. They're the Goliaths. Excuse me. They're not the Davids. This is literally the Goliaths right here and all the Davids chasing them. But I could see, I swear to you, I could see both of these Goliaths being below this line and 2 Davids being up here. I could see it. And I'm recording this, by the way. If I'm right, I might play it back. I could see it happening. And not just because they're both struggling now. I think each team has a push in them still. But aren't they going to play each other a handful of times? Aren't they going to have to play Tampa Bay a handful of times? Those aren't going to be easy games. Seattle, I'm surprised they're here. I am not surprised by these two teams. I'm not surprised by these two teams. We'll see. We'll see how this goes. All right, let me bring back the... oops, nope. Not it, Brazil. Try it again. There you go. So, Federico, thank you so much for that. You can see the A's passing the Jays and the Red Sox passing the Yankees. So you think it'd be the A's and Red Sox in a wild card game at Fenway? Ooh, I'd rather have it be at the Coliseum, to be honest, even though I know that hasn't worked out tremendous lately. What's my favorite NFL team? I mean, I was named after a 49er quarterback, so probably got to start there. And I will say this, people say, well, aren't you a Raider fan? Aren't you an East Bay guy? Yes, but they weren't there for most of my childhood. The Raiders only came back in 95. By that point, I was already in high school. I had already seen the 49ers win a bunch of Super Bowls and Jerry Rice and Joe Montana. And, it's just, I already got won over by the 49er empire, if you will. The Raiders weren't around. So, and I never just gravitated to the Raiders, and quite honestly, now seeing who they are, what they did, where they went, no disrespect, I'm just going to let them go. I have nothing. I just kind of came and went. Chris thought something was funny. I think your avatar is pretty funny. LMFAO! Yeah. I had to do like a whole sound demo here. Anybody want to see auto-tune? Have I done fantasy baseball? Yeah. I've done fantasy sports, but the problem is by week 2 or 3 of the respective season, I'm so bad. I forget to set a lineup. I do it once. I don't make trades. I say the hell with it. I'm just bad at it. So I haven't done it in years, probably even a decade. Lowry should stay another year, 1 year, if the deal was up to you. Look, I agree. Like I said before, if there's something mutual that can be favorable, works out for both sides, rock it. And I just hope that both sides are giving each other kind of like the team deal. You know what I'm saying? Samuel, you think the A's are about to go undefeated for the rest of the season? I'm just telling you that what they have ahead is interesting. It's these next 8 and then the final 13. You can literally draw a line in the sand of what that's all about. But I like your thinking. Come cover the Niners with Matty Mayoko. That's an elite duo. Ooh, with the devil. Is that the devil avatar right there? Oh, no, not avatar. Emoji. Sorry, I'm old. I'm 40. I can make those mistakes at 40. Yeah, you know what? Matty's been doing it a long time. Got a lot of respect for that guy. He's got some pull. He's got some weight. He's got some insights. He's got it down. Thoughts on Tony Kemp providing heavily for this team? DJ Lopez, you bring up a great point. Tony Kemp, to me, and I think I saw this the other day, he's played the most, got the most at-bats of any season in his big league career right now, and there's still several weeks to play. Tony Kemp has played a huge factor. He's come up with some clutch hits this year, especially against the Yankees for whatever reason. Like, he has loved to hurt the Bombers, which is great. I like his versatility. He can hit high in the lineup. He can hit low. He can play left field. He can play second base. And more than that, like, you just need, let's recall before the A's had Starling Marte, who is so disruptive on the base paths. I love it. I love the way he plays. I love him as a runner. How many ball players do you say, well, I like the way he hits, or I like the way this guy plays third base. I like the way Olsen hits. I love the way Chapman plays third base. I love the way Chris Bassitt pitches. But how often do you say, I love the way a guy runs on the bases? You just don't say that very often. And I know I'm talking about Marte, but Kemp kind of has those very same attributes. And I think Tony Kemp has been more valuable this year than any other, even prior season, probably in his career, but definitely with the A's. And you know what else is a trip? In my mind there, I just thought that he'd been on the team 2 prior seasons, but what I realized is the first time I saw him, it was spring training 2020 when I was there in Arizona. And to me now, that feels like 2 years ago, even though that was actually the start of last season before everything got shut down shortly after. So My apologies. But no, just to your point, DJ, you bring that up because I think you know the answer already. Am I telling you like main character of the movie? Not necessarily, but a role player and a role character who's got a very important role. He's got a speaking role in this team, if that makes sense. So I'm big on what he's done, and I'm a fan of him personally, just like his approach. I like everything there. I'm happy he's with the A's. Oh, Samuel, man, you are on one right now. It'll be the A's and Giants in the World Series. Oh, wait a second. Get that off the screen. No, you know what? Nope. I didn't pre-read that. Samuel, you want me to put it back? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, nope. Boop. Nope. No thanks. Giants in 4. You think the Giants would sweep the A's if they played a World Series? No. All right. How can we get more people to come to the Oakland Coliseum? I'll tell you what, Kyle. I'm hopeful for a lot of things for this team regarding Howard Terminal, but I also predict to you, maybe this is another video. I'm hopeful that when the A's get Howard Terminal sorted out, you instantly see a difference at the Coliseum in attendance, because I see those numbers too, and it doesn't make sense. I know there's more A's fans out there than that. I also realize there's a pandemic going on, and numbers across the board have been relatively low. I mean, even the Giants, with the exception of a couple Dodger games where it was all Dodger fans there, they draw like 17,000 a game this year on average, which is like half capacity. So it's hard for me to say in this pandemic-influenced season still, what's up with attendance. But I'm also not going to ignore that, yeah, it's even lower than normal and what you might expect. So my point, Kyle, is let's say there's really good news or there's a couple developments which kind of lead you to know that, all right, this is the progress that's been made for the team staying specifically at Howard Terminal. I mean, I think that alone right there is going to be the difference maker. I think that's just going to show people that there is some security here. And you know what's crazy? And you think about you as an A's fan this year, what you've gone through in terms of just watching the team. Like you're stressed right now about a wild card. You're looking at those standings saying, can they get in the playoffs? And that's like most good teams are in that same position. But how many other big league teams are in a playoff race and in a stadium race? That's a tough one, right? Like A's fans are extra on edge these days because they really want this to work out. They really want the team to stay. So I'm hopeful that some positive news just encourages more people to come on out. And that's the only answer they need. And imagine this, like at some point, let's say they break ground a certain amount of months or years down the road. Then it's a certainty. It's imminent. And now you're going to have huge crowds because people are going to be just totally invested and back into it because it's tangible. It's real to them. But as for right now, for some people, as of today, it's just not there yet, I guess. I don't even know. Let me move on here. Can we get a special guest on live like D-Train? Heavy C, you think I should call him right now? Are they done with post game? I mean, I don't want to bug anybody right now, but I should. In the future, I should just bring a guest on here. It literally is that easy. Could just prearrange it with somebody, call them up, or I could do a FaceTime with them right here, and I could put the two boxes up on the screen. Little Little something like if it were a baseball interview, it could be like, hey, there's so-and-so. Instead, there's the standings over there. I could do that. Speaking of calls, like, do you guys, anybody up for a couple of those? Oh, I see somebody here is, somebody's in the super chat. Let's dive into that. Thank you so much, Joseph, for that contribution. My boy Stu is making an impressive bid for the City of Oakland share of the Coliseum site. Any insider info on what his plans entail? Yeah, I've got the whole document actually over here. No, I'm kidding. I have seen some things. I don't think what I've seen is anything secret, but I also don't. I can't translate it to you here anyway. Like I can't show you what I've seen. Let me say this. I'm pulling for Stu to be part of anything that happens at the future of that site for a multitude of reasons. Where he's from, who he is, his background, what he plans to do, the kind of people he would bring in, the fact that he takes pride. And I know a lot of people would. I know there's other groups out there who could claim the same thing. It's just that I know Stu. And he also promised me he'd build a street with my name on it, which I'm kidding. But I did ask for that. But it'll never happen. But no, seriously, I'm totally excited for him. And I certainly hope it doesn't take away from him being a colleague of mine on television. We'll always be buddies. Like, that's no question. But I love what he does for us on television. I love the fact that he's around the team in a multitude of ways. And think about what he's done in his career. Ball player, turned GM, front office, now an agent, also a broadcaster. What hasn't he done? I want to see him get into, this, it's not ownership role. And really, he's into buying half the Coliseum site, hopefully because there's no more baseball stadium or team there anymore. So he's got some plans. Again, I've seen pictures. I've seen the text. I didn't memorize it. I have a loose idea. Out of respect to the process, I don't want to share more than what's already out there. Even though, Joseph, I know that's specifically what you're asking for. But he wants to do. I could see how somebody would say, well, he's a businessman. He's trying to get on a business deal. I mean, who is not trying to do something productive for themselves, but who is also trying to do something productive for East Oakland, the city where he's from? Again, he doesn't have to fake authenticity. When somebody says, well, Brody grew up an A's, fan or Sharks fan, and this is, he gets to host the team's pre and post game show. Yeah, I don't have to fake, like, the way I'm feeling about the team, or I'm right with all of you guys, good and bad. I don't have to fake it. Stu doesn't have to fake what he wants to do here in the best interest of the city, for that site, and obviously for the community, people who would get to use it and all the different things they could do at that site. Yeah, I know there's a barge stop there. There's a freeway exit there. I think they're going to keep the arena there intact. And there's just a lot of positive things that could be done there that a baseball stadium, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's prime for something else. It's prime and it's time for something else. That rhymed, as my son would tell me. He'd be like, hey, Daddy, that rhymes. Like, I know. Bossy Ozzy, how's it going? The A's not having a treehouse pass or access this year has to be hurting. And yeah, you know what, Derek? That's a great point too, right? Like, think how even the months have changed since April of the pandemic and what we thought baseball would look like and attendance, and things were getting better. Then they got really good, and then things have regressed. And none of the teams wanted to really sell season ticket packages because it all had to be flexible of what games you could go to. So it is kind of a hodgepodge of a season in that way. There's no question about it. Yes, Logan, I will be on pre and post game tomorrow. Little day baseball, so of course, I probably only have another 15 minutes here. And you know what? On that note, you guys ready for it? Let's just do it. Let's just do it. Give me 1 second here to should not have put the number up before I actually fired up the phone line. Okay, but I think we're all set now. So here it is. If you want to place a call, if you want to stay on the regular chat, I might keep an eye on that. But I think I'm going to try and... Oh, look at that. Here we go from the 510 already. Good evening from the 510. Who's this?
This is Daniel. How's it going, Brody?
Hey, Daniel. How are you?
I'm pretty good, man. This game today was actually really nice. Good to see the A's pull out a W against the Rangers, who they struggled with. So,
did you watch the game start to finish?
I was there start to finish.
Oh,
so, yeah.
Well, there you go. So they went up 6-1, and everybody's feeling like, oh, here we go. And then all of a sudden, the Rangers made it interesting again. And that was like every Texas Oakland matchup this year has kind of been like that. You know, they just couldn't hammer them away.
It's weird. It's so weird to see them struggle with, not within the division, because I feel like we always do that, but with a team like the Rangers, it's so weird to see that.
No doubt. So how was it out there tonight? I mean, could you kind of feel the energy, and what did you think when Katie almost hit the grand salami?
Okay, so energy was pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of empty, but energy was still really nice. I feel like the Latinx night really threw into that, because a lot of people went out for that.
Yeah.
When Chris Davis almost hit that grand slam, it was actually really funny because I was hanging out with the Last Dive Bar crew, Brian and all of them.
They're legendary, by the way. In fact, if you could name drop them one more time before you're done, that would be very appropriate too. So let's make sure that.
Yeah, no problem. So one of the head people in Last Dive Bar, his name is Brian, also known as Pinhead. He has the big vest with pins on it.
Oh yeah. WTF.
Yeah, we were talking.
WTF.
Yeah, WTF Brian. Yep. So we were talking, and he was like, Chappie's gonna get on right now, and then Katie's gonna hit a grand slam.
Oh.
I was like, that would be crazy, because Katie coming back to Oakland doing that. And then when Katie hit that ball, we all stood up and we were like, no way. And we were all yelling, and it just went foul, and we were like, oh, come on.
I know. And then he struck out, too. I was like, oh, man, it went from everything to that, But I'm just glad that the game wasn't relying on that. That would have been like the icing on top of the icing on top of the icing on top of the cake, so.
Yeah, if that would have led to us losing or us missing out on an opportunity to score more runs and being in a tighter situation, that would have been pretty bad.
How are you feeling about the season? I mean, 21 games left. I'll put the standings here up on the screen for everybody. Is there confidence for you? I mean, you're not far behind right now.
Mm-hmm. So I'm not gonna lie. About a week ago, when we were on that losing streak, and we weren't really looking too hot against Toronto.
Oh yeah.
I was not feeling really good about the season. I thought we were done. We had fallen, I think, 6 games back to the division, about 3 games of the wild card.
Yep. Three and a half at the worst.
Yeah, 3.5, and we had fallen into 3rd place. And I was like, I don't like this at all. This isn't looking good. We might not be able to pull this out. But I feel like the A's always come through in September, and they always have that little push that really gets them into the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm with you. You know what? Go ahead. No, I was just going to say I would call myself crazy if I hadn't seen it before a couple times. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So to your point, it's not the same group identically, but that's what this franchise always finds a way to do. So
yeah, and it's literally like clockwork. It happens all the time. It's insane, to be honest.
Yeah, totally.
It's so often.
Totally agree. Anything else that's on your mind that you want to bring to the table, and how else you could include lastdivebar.com just one more time in there? I don't know how we can.
Lastdivebar.com. Go get your shirts. They go to great cause. Everything goes back to the community. All proceeds, A's Community Fund.
Yep.
Different community benefits that are helping out everybody. They're really great guys. Everybody's really nice. Everybody's they're all big supporters of the team.
Yep.
And you see all those banners out in left field, and most of them are from the Last Dive Bar guys. They all make them, and they get them out there as soon as possible. So yeah, go ahead and support lastdivebar.com. And I think that's just about it. That's all I got to say. So
they made
have a nice night, Fred.
Thanks, man. They made that awesome card, photo book for Chris Bassitt. 1,200 plus signatures, so to speak, but like notes. I even wrote one in there to see Bassitt, which I was like, hey, why not?
I did as well.
They just do cool stuff for the team and the fan community. So I like people. I like that. I'm a big supporter of them. So
they're a really good supporters group.
Thanks for mentioning that. I appreciate it. Anything else?
No, I believe that's it.
Cool. Well, have a good night then. Thanks for being here.
Appreciate it. You as well. Thank you.
You got it. All right.
Bye-bye.
Just do the hang up there real quick, only so I can get the next call that comes on. I see there are a couple other chats here. I'll tell you what. Let me see if I can just do this here real quick. 1 second. I know. This is not trying to do too many things here at once. Ashley. KD needs to play every day. He has Cespedes energy. His presence is a boost. So you know what? I didn't know when he got called up. I thought he would play instantly. He didn't for a couple days. Then he pinch hit a few times. Had that 2-for-3 game, I think, in Detroit as the day game, the last game there. I don't think there was ever the intention that he'd be called up to play every day. I thought that he'd be called up to get the opportunity to play every day, if that makes sense. I know what you're saying, though, like watching him with the bases loaded tonight. Also, the single he had up the middle, great piece of hitting. I know he's had a few strikeouts more than he'd like, but that's KD, right? He's gonna hit some bombs occasionally. I can't wait until he unloads on a few here for the Oakland A's at the major league level. And who would have thought tonight at home, Chris Davis playing again for the A's against the Rangers, who they traded him to. Like only 7 months ago. It's crazy. Federico, you're back. Is there a future Olympics in the Bay Area? I mean, if there is, I don't know what year it would take place. Honestly, aren't they into like the mid-2030s by now in terms of lining these things up? I do agree with your point, and if you and your brother are still asking questions, and I know where the conversation is, like the Bay Area does have tremendous venues, and it goes just beyond, you've got 2 major league ballparks. The Coliseum could be used for a multitude of things. PayPal Stadium in San Jose is great for outdoor soccer or anything else you could fit there. You've got SAP Center, you've got Chase Center, you've got the Oracle Arena still, whatever they call it now. You've got Stanford's football stadium. You've got all their facilities. You've got Cal's football stadium, Haas Pavilion, Maples Pavilion. San Jose State could chip in. And plus, you could stretch it out even to Sacramento and the Golden One Center if you needed to. So I would agree that, and I would also think, Federico, that if the Olympics ever came calling to the Bay Area, people here would insist that, we don't spend a ton of money. We don't, a lot of these cities, they commit so many resources and so many dollars to building stuff. I don't see that happening here in the Bay Area. I mean, we're trying to get a stadium for the Oakland A's, who play 81 home games every single year. So if we can't get it for that, I don't see how they build it for the Olympics, but we already have a lot of these venues in place. So is it far-fetched? Not at all. But is it possible? Is it likely? I don't think it is right now. I'm not saying I understand why that is, but anyway, phone lines here are still open. I will leave the phone line up. I'll go back to the live chat. If you call in, here's the number. It's quite simple. I will pick up. Whoop. Hang on a second. Got a little testy there on the old keys. All right, let me try this again here. Let me see here. How can I get this back? Okay. Now we're back. All right, perfect. I don't know if you follow high school football or not. I mean, I clearly used to. I did that job for a long time. But De La Salle just lost their 318-game win streak against teams north of Clovis. Now, wait a second. When I was getting into the high school game, they also had the streak going, and they lost to a team up in Seattle? Yeah, it was 2005 or 6, I want to say. So you're telling me tonight they also lost. It's rare that they ever lose. Their 318 game win streak against teams north of Clovis. So they lost to somebody north of Clovis. Oh, because they had lost to somebody south of Clovis? Sorry, you got to tell me, Logan, who it is and tell me more about this. I am interested. That is a big deal for people around here. Forgot to mention on the phone. Yeah, it was great to see Lou get a clean inning. It really was. He needs confidence. And he needs opportunity. I thought that outing in Toronto was the perfect spot for him. I know others disagreed. They were up 6 runs. It was the 8th inning. Who could have seen that coming? David, I am actually going to take this question up. A political question, which I normally don't answer here on the channel. Does the governor recall have any effect with the infrastructure money for Howard Terminal? Does red or blue matter? Not that I can see. I mean, the biggest thing that matters here to me is Oakland. Oakland's made some mistakes in recent times with, among other things, but with professional sports. The county of Alameda is in the same boat. Let's be honest, we're talking about the Raiders here. So my point is that Oakland is so cautious about taking steps because it's not like they don't want to take a step. They're fearful of taking a wrong step. That's the way it appears to me in all these meetings. Every council member, every person on that board of supervisors for the county, they are a bit, not intimidated, but they are a bit cautious because of what has preceded them. And they understand that in this day and age, you can't afford to make too many bad decisions, let alone one huge bad decision. And I am not here to tell you that this one is, but it's literally like if I told you, hey, David, here is, I'll make up a number. I have $100K for you right now in my pocket. And you're saying, well, wait a second. What's in it for me? And I say $100K. And you say, yeah, but what do I have to do? And I say, nothing. We've arranged the land. I mean, if this all can, if what we think can happen takes place, I have $100K for you. And then you say, well, wait a second. Do I have to pay taxes on that $100K? Like, wait a second. Okay, so if you get $86,000, are you saying no to that? And then you say, well, can I spend that $86K on whatever I want? I say, yeah, you can do whatever you want with it. Well, $86K is not going to pay for my college tuition, for the car payment I have, for the mortgage that I still owe on. It's like, I can't help you with all that. I'm giving you $100K. It turns out to be not $100K. It's 80 something. Do you want it or not? I kind of feel like that's what it's come to. So I don't have much more on that, but if you're asking if a left or right thing matters for this, no, I don't think that's at play necessarily at all here. I think it's more of literally a county and a city. It's at a county and a city level. And you know what's crazy? I've heard this be debated. I've heard public commentary from the city meeting, from the county meeting, from another design review committee meeting the other day. I swear I've seen people from what I assume to be both sides of the political spectrum, some sides over here agreeing, some sides here disagreeing, somebody over here agreeing and disagreeing. I don't think there's a true relationship to political parties and this project. Because again, I've seen people on both sides be for and against. Which, how often do you see that lately? My A's bias. You love the idea. And by the way, thank you for being here in the Super Chat. I've said this a few times already tonight, but I will repeat and reiterate what this does. It goes towards building out this channel. It's been suggested by a few others that I also make like PayPal available or what's the other one? The Cash App. And I will look into these things. But what I want to say here now is anything that gets donated tonight, all this stuff goes to the channel, right? I want to improve this channel. I recently actually made a significant investment to be able to do these live streams at work now as well. So I'm branching out. I'm trying to give you more and better. So that's what this is all about. And every little bit does help. So I appreciate it. You love the idea of signing Marte, but feared that it would put Ramon on the trading block in the offseason. Well, I mean, let me just say this. What about Mark Canha? What about Steven Piscotty? There are other players in the mix, and you're going to need more outfielders. Like, if you're telling me that you think there's not two positions out there, then I would disagree a little bit there. Or if you think there's not the right money, I think it has to do with Marte being so exceptional in these last couple weeks that whatever he was worth, whatever his next contract was going to be, he is squeezing every last drop out of that orange or whatever fruit reference you want to make. Like, he's getting every last drip of production this year. He's putting on a show. And he's going to get I guess what I'm trying to say is, with the squeezing reference, he's going to get every last drip out of that next contract, whoever it's with. And maybe he's playing his way out of a contract with the A's because he's playing so dang well. So I agree with you. I love the idea of re-signing Marte. But if they do it, I think the A's also have to understand you do need a Ramon. You do want a Mark Canha to stay around. You do need other outfielders. So you can't break the bank on one and expect to have your team lean on that. Hayden, that's a great question. Let me finish it off right now. There's probably like that much left. Now it's done. It's because I've been nursing it for, my goodness, an hour and 40 minutes. Okay. It is coming up here on crunch time. And eventually I will have to just call it. Let me see how the stream's doing. Everything, whoops. Hang on one second. Everything rolling okay in that regard? Everything looking and sounding good here? Sometimes I click away from this and I don't know how it's going. Yeah, it looks fine. Great. Like, are we actually still on? And that's kind of why I do the live chat a lot, because I'm like, well, yeah, at least if people are talking to me still and they're not like, hey, we can't hear you, we can't see you, then at least I know that things are good. Oh, Kyle, do I think that the San Jose Earthquakes will make the postseason? If it's Wando's last year, then I darn well hope so. You know what? I got to be honest. I am guilty this year, Kyle, of not giving them enough attention. I've been so busy. I think I'm on pace to do like more than 120 A's games this year. So I can't even give you a worthwhile prediction. I don't know. I don't even know how the standings look at this very second. But I hope so. Can the A's take the division in the last few weeks? That is something I do know about. I just, if that's going to happen, T-Dog, I really think what the Bro Dog thinks is that their slide is going to have to happen right now. It's got to, because the A's just playing them 6 times head to head, and that, 7 games left with the Mariners, that's not enough time for, 5+ game deficit to be erased and surpassed. It's possible. I just think if it's likely, it needs to start now, and I don't know that it's tremendously likely, and I'm just being real. Oh, here it is for De La Salle. Every team in Northern California and Central they have beat in the past 30 years besides the dominant Southern California teams. Got it. Well, hey, you know what? That's crazy. If De La Salle lost tonight, that does not happen every weekend in the fall. That's for darn sure. It goes years at a time that streak has been rolling. That's what you asked Hal on Twitter the other day when he said what he was sending a card of himself. If you send his address to him, what's the catch? Oh, okay. So what I was talking about earlier, about, the A's trying to pitch this stadium to Oakland. And they're like, well, what are we, what's in it for us? Like, here's what's in it for you. It's like a million questions, which is fine. I hope eventually, though, they realize and go, we'll take it. Let's shake hands. Let's hope that's the deal. How's Fosse? I don't know. Ray's a pretty private person. Clearly, none of us really had the inclination of what he had been dealing with so severely or so seriously and for so long. So I've reached out. I've sent a few messages, and I haven't asked for anything in return. In fact, I said, don't even reply to this. Just I want you to know that people are caring for you and thinking about you. So I wish I had an answer for you. I don't. I hope for the best. I really do. But that's kind of been something we're not talking about a lot, this year. But I think when baseball winds down, we'll say, wow, that was another. I talked about gut punches of the year that the team has gone through. I mean, if you're a viewer of the broadcast, it's definitely another one. How excited am I for Sharks hockey? You know what happens, Jeff? Every year, it takes the current season that I'm on to be over with before I can really, really get into the next one. Now, don't get me wrong. The sights, the sounds, and, in person, I don't know how much I'll be seeing of it for in the studio, whatnot. I'll be covering it, clearly. But of course, like, there's too many things I don't know yet about how it's going to go, how it's going to go down. And I'm also like waist deep, shoulder deep in the A's season right now. So it's kind of hard for me to mentally unwrap and move on too far to that yet. I hope you understand what I'm saying. But of course, like when it's time, I would love to see them be a surprise story. And only a surprise in the sense of what they've done the last 2 years, transposed to what I think they're capable of. I like some of the veteran moves. They needed to rely less on players getting chances and rely more on players who've been there, done that. And I hope we get to see a little bit more of that this upcoming season. Because I said before, on paper, they should be a playoff team. It's been kind of a surprise of where they've been the last 2 years. So, and they've never not made it 3 years in a row. I'll keep saying that until it's not a thing anymore. The 2012 deficit for the A's, yes, it was similar. It took them having to win those they've swept the whole last homestand. I think they won their final 6 games of that regular season, including those 3 critically against Texas. Winning is the best deodorant. Now, I don't know if you're talking about A's or Sharks. Very true, though. Right? And that's the thing about the Sharks. You've got a little bit of turmoil, and I don't know how that's all going to play out. I've been asked a bunch of times about Evander Kane. And I said this before, I can't comment yet because I don't know. There's clearly a fork in the road. This could go kind of 2 ways. Not going to tell you that I know either way or I have a prediction or even an instinct. But just like the team, I mean, you start winning, and whatever you're going through, collectively or individually, winning does kind of make it smell better, if it wasn't already. I do too, Oaktown Mojo. I love seeing Chris Bassitt there. And I think, what you've seen from Frankie Montas and Sean Manaea in their respective starts lately, I mean, some of that has to be Bassitt-like influence. Now that he went through the injury, he's back. Those guys all love him. They all get along so well together. And just to promote it here, if you're not subscribing here on the channel, please do so, because I just posted a video earlier today, in fact, about Chris Bassitt's recovery. He's going to throw a bullpen session tomorrow. That's very highly anticipated, but I'm here to tell you, well, watch the video. But the overall summary is why I want to see him pitch. It has very little to do with Oakland A's success. It has everything to do with him. So that video is here on the channel. Make sure you check it out at some other time. Or as soon as I sign off here in like 5 minutes, because I am running out of gas. Look how many times Kyle has asked me this question. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, Jeff. Oh, no, that's a different answer. Never mind. Sorry about that. Ooh, how will AI innovation impact Major League Baseball specifically in the next 10 years? I think that's the beautiful thing. You don't even know. I mean, the technology is changing and emerging so much. How about even the fact that, like, in the last couple of days on the broadcast, we've seen the hitter, pitcher, matchup probability, like here's the chances that Matt Olson gets on base or records an out or hits one in the air or grounds one. I mean, that is, and it's all in real time. That is nuts. Jesse, you're not the first one to mention Tony Kemp tonight here in the live chat. I agree. And let me also expand a little bit. I could probably do a video on this too. Everybody talks about Marte. Who wouldn't? I mean, he is kind of like maybe the primary asset that they acquired. And I'm not going to doubt that at all. But I really like Josh Harrison. Man, I like the way he plays. And if the A's can't keep Marte because that's just going to break the bank, please, can you keep Harrison? I mean, I take Yan Gomes and Chafin also. Don't get me wrong. But Josh Harrison, and the same with Marte. I knew about them. I didn't know enough about them. And that's a compliment to them. Really have enjoyed them on the team. Nobody was stealing bases, before they showed up, like Kemp. I talked about that earlier. Tony Kemp's having his probably best major league season. Definitely getting the most opportunity, but I think he's running with it at every opportunity. And let me also say how difficult it is. To your point, he's not in the lineup every day. I mean, here's a player who in for a couple stretches, out for a while, back in, back out. That's not easy. To gain confidence, to gain success through repetition is usually how it happens. You feed off the opportunity, you keep it rolling. What happens if you keep it rolling and now you're back out because for whatever reason, somebody else needs at bats or it's a righty-lefty thing, whatever. I mean, my point is that it's hard when there's inherent breaks in your season and you don't just get to keep it rolling every day. You enjoy seeing the A's in the beginning of the season running and manufacturing runs. Yeah, it did kind of seem to fizzle. But now, I mean, I would say this too. It's also important for this team, and correct me if I'm wrong, not a ton of I did not watch the whole game tonight. No homers, right? Did they get 10 runs on no homers? I mean, Chris Davis also almost had the grand slam. So, I agree. I think, and it's amazing. We've done a whole series on the gut punches this team has survived, but there were also some periods where like they went on a 13-game win streak. They had a 7-game win streak. I thought they got a huge boost from the trade deadline. This has been a season of riding the wave. It's just that some of those waves have crested really high, and then some of the lows, like last weekend in Toronto, felt like we were hitting the coral reef. You know what I'm saying? Like we were scratching our butts on that. That's how low the wave was. I don't know. And I love technology. I really do. I love it in cars. I love it in phones. I love it like here. I can broadcast worldwide from my home. I do love technology. But in baseball? And I mean, if now we're talking about 100% correct strike zone, what's next? Does it stop there? Is every umpire replaced by some base that's a sensor? That's a hard one. Because once you cross that line, let me say this, you implement that. And for whatever reason, you don't like it. Can you take it out instantly? Can you bring umpires back? Yikes. How do you have a hybrid situation where you need a home plate umpire for safe and out at home, but you don't have said umpire calling balls and strikes? I guess the other thing you take out instantly is anybody arguing with balls and strikes. Who do you get mad at? And I mean, are we 100% sure we can get this 1,000% accurate? I actually, you know what? I take that back. I bet in 2021 you could. I bet they could do this so precise. But I don't know. You know what? I can't sit here and tell you that I'm totally against it. I'm scared of it. I think it would also draw so much criticism. I mean, there are people in baseball who would absolutely detest this. What are they going to do about it? What can they do about it? Probably nothing. But I don't know. Like replay is like bad enough. Imagine every single pitch that's thrown. Now, and that's the other thing. You're adding technology into every single pitch thrown of baseball. Not just the controversial plays, not just, did it go over the fence or not? And that's another one. What's reviewable and what's not? You already have an issue there. Why are some things reviewable by video and others are not? And now you're going to have technology controlling balls and strikes? I don't know. If you take away that controversy, wide strike zone versus a couple bad calls. Well, how about this? Umpires these days are getting criticized like on social media after games because they're literally getting report cards. Now, I kind of am okay with that. I've always said that everybody on that field is held accountable. If you're a player and you don't get the job done regularly, you're gone. You don't get a next contract. If you're a manager and your team doesn't do what they're supposed to do, you're done. Same thing with a hitting coach, a pitching coach. Everybody on that field that wears a uniform is held accountable. And that's not to say that major league umpires are not entirely responsible, but do you hear like a mass layoff of MLB's worst umpiring crew or umpires season to season? You don't. It's like, here's, umpire X. This is his 27th season in Major League Baseball. Okay, well, he's probably good, or they just never hold them accountable entirely. Do you hear about umpires getting brought up from AAA and sent down a bunch? No. It does happen, but not. I think it's very infrequent. I think once you're up, unless you're really bad or you're a problem. So I bet you in my lifetime, though, it happens. I bet it does. All right. I think that's going to be it for the live stream. Oh, wait a second. We got one more. We got one more here in the super chat. My A's bias. Thank you so much for jumping in again. Who'll be your first guest on the podcast? Townie or Mania? Both great guests, don't get me wrong. Like with Sean, we could have a ton of fun. I doubt we would talk much baseball. We would go so many other places. And Townie, Townie's on the Mount Rushmore of A's broadcasters, but those are two totally separate people there. You know what I'm saying? When I do guests, I might start in this hockey season and carry it over if it goes well next year, and we could try baseball. It's not a bad idea, though. I really like the thought of doing a live stream, doing it with somebody else, and then I could take questions. We could filter the questions to them. I think I will try it pretty soon. So, okay. I do appreciate everybody for being here tonight. I am out of gas, and I got to wake up early tomorrow for day baseball at the Coliseum, Game 2 of the series. So that is going to do it. Do I have? No, I don't have any music. Sorry. I tried. I'm just going to sign off this way and say good night. Be well. Thanks for watching the live stream, and I'll talk to you soon. See ya.